Today we have Rotarians from both 7020 and 70. My friends, I just want to big up Sean Paddy, who really, his intro videos are getting better and better. It's not more of the same. They're just getting better and better. And thank you so much, Sean, for that. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our Golden Nugget speaker. And our Golden Nugget speaker is none other than David Stovall, who is, as I said, the Rotary International Treasurer for this year. He's a past Rotary International Director, and he has been one of my mentors in the last couple of years in my training. He is a man who speaks from the heart and never fails to give you his view and to listen to yours. So David is a retired commercial banker. He retired in 2011 after 32-year career, 22 of which he served as president and CEO of a national market NASD bank holding company. He then launched a career as a commercial real estate broker. David has served Rotary as committee member, regional Rotary Foundation coordinator, training leader, president's representative, endowment major gifts advisor, and council on legislation representative. In 1994-95, he hosted a Rotary Peace Forum in Senegal that led to the formation of what is now the Rotarian Action Group for Population and Development. David has received the Avenues of Service citation, the Rotary Foundation citation for meritorious service, and the Rotary Foundation Distinguished Service Award. He and his wife, Kim Waters, also a past district governor, are foundation benefactors, major donors, and Bequest Society members. Now, David actually asked me the last time I introduced him not to go into all of that, just to tell people that he cherishes his time as director of Rotary International because it opened opportunities for him to get out there and do good in the world. So my fellow Rotarians, I introduce to you Rotary International Treasurer and my mentor in my training program, David Stovall.
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here, and if you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
You see the movies, you hear the stories, I'm living a dream. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
Good afternoon and evening, ladies and gentlemen of Rotary. It is so great to be with you today. I'm not going to start calling any names, but a lot of names on this, a lot of people on this call, especially past Rotary leaders in your area. I just treasure being able to be with you today. So the most important job in all of Rotary, in my opinion, is that of the club president. And you saw that little video. You've heard about herding cats. You're now going to become a cat herder. In the next 5 or 6 minutes, I'm going to take you from a rookie cat herder to a trained professional. Now, John Smarge is going to be speaking a little bit later, and he's going to fill in all the detail and the blind spots. But you get your pens and pencils out, because we have 5 little points that are going to make you awesome in herding the cats of your club. Volunteer organization, got it? Yeah, the cat's just going wild. So first of all, Some of you have already asked about my man Max. Well, that's my dog. He's 5.5 years old. He and I trained for 2 years. He's very obedient. About 2 years ago, Kim, our cat, 3 years ago, our cat died. And 2 years ago, we got a cat that Kim, in all of the funny wisdom, named Minnie. So we have Max and Minnie. Max is lay around, you can pet him or whatever. Minnie, I call her Spastic Cat. That's not a real name. For me, her name is Spastic Cat. But the first point is Minnie likes to be stroked. Even this spastic cat that is a wild woman likes to be stroked. So remember that your cats in your club are like that. They love for you to pat them on the back. Tell them they're doing good. Thank them for doing all the stuff that they're doing. You got to stroke them. You got to stroke your cats to hurt them. Second of all, this is very important. It's the opposite side of that. While cats like to be stroked, they groom themselves. They do that. They do not like to be brushed very much. You ever tried to brush a cat? It ain't pretty. It is not pretty when you try to brush a cat. So don't tell your cats what to do. Stroke them for doing what they're doing well, and they will start to follow you. First point, cats like to be stroked. Second point, they groom themselves, so don't try to brush them. Third point, cats like to be talked to. Now, Minnie will sit over on the other side of the room on the hearth, and we'll talk to Max, and you call Max's name, and Max looks up, and he knows his name, and that you can call Minnie's name, and she will not even turn to look at you. She won't turn to look at you. But you can say, Minnie, would you like to go outside? And Minnie, and just stand up. And Minnie runs toward the door. So cats like to be talked to. They want you to think they're not listening, but they generally are. And you got to talk to your cats in that same manner. Okay, here's the secret one. Don't let it out of this Zoom room. Cats follow easier with a bit of catnip. You ever given a cat catnip? When I really want to see Spastic Cat go crazy, I get a little ball of catnip, throw it out in the middle of the floor. She'll just like she's smoking dope or something. She goes crazy. So give your cats a little reward. Have a fellowship time, and give them something special. Show up with some treats for the birthday people or whatever. Cats follow easier with a bit of catnip. And the last point, we're almost done. You're 5 minutes and you're becoming a professional cat herder. Cats generally respond better to a kind heart. You got to be good to your cats. You can't whip your cats. You can't not feed your cats. You can't not water your cats. Cats like to be stroked. Don't use a brush on them. They don't like to be brushed because they groom themselves. And even though they don't want you to realize it and they won't admit it to you, when you're talking, they're usually listening. So talk positively and leave positively and leave with a servant heart of thanks. Cats follow easier with that catnip. Find you some catnip for your cats every week. Every week, bring catnip to your meeting. A little trinket, a toy, a compliment for the people that have birthdays that week. Just have fun with it. And cats generally respond to a warm and kind heart. Animals can read people, and your cats can read you. If you come to the meeting like that with a bummer face on, they're not going to respond to you. Keep your happy on. Keep your happy on. 7 minutes. Everybody ready? You ready to herd some cats? Raise your hand. We got a bunch of booming cat herders here. I know you were in less than 15, but you had to hear this one today. Thank you so much for letting me be with you. I don't know how golden that nugget was, but I promise you it was a nugget of some kind. Thank you, Governor-elect Blau and Rotarians.
All right, Director David. I'm sure we'll be running out of catnips in 70-30 soon, but thank you so much for taking the time off. That story, I think, will last with us for a very long time. But we know that you're a very, very busy person who's taking some time off to be here with us. And just to know that you are Lyle's mentor means a lot to all of us. So thank you very much for being part of this golden nugget this afternoon. So I will move on now, and I would like to introduce our next, I would like to ask Past District Governor David to do the introduction of our main speaker, please.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Afternoon or evening, depending where you are. Before I go on, I know John Smarge and I have known David Stovall for a long time. So it's very interesting and great to know that he can speak to you this evening and you can understand him, because he has many versions of Southern accent. At least the one this afternoon you could understand. Nice to see you, David. So, John Smarge, we are welcoming past RI Director John Smarge with us. No stranger to District 7030, but for the newer persons, I'll just give you some background. John is a member of the Rotary Club of Naples, Florida since 1982. His classification is moving and storage. For those of you who are always on the internet, just look for Ray the Mover. And that's John Smarge, just Ray the Mover. John served as the president of the Rotary Club of Naples in 1992-93, and as governor of 69-60 in 95-96. He's a member of the board of Rotary 2010 to 2012 and chairman of the executive committee in 2011 to 2012. He's been twice a delegate to the Council of Legislation and a member of the RI President's Nominating Committee. He's also served on the Rotary International membership as a membership coordinator, foundation coordinator, training leader, and chair of multiple RI committees. But the creme de la creme was in 2018-19, John served as the aide to Rotary International President Barry Racine. He was also the aide to, or now dearly departed, Sam Mawari, and then continued to serve Barry. He's received numerous awards: Service Above Self, Citation and Meritorious Service, Distinguished Service Award. And his biggest, I know he treasures it a lot, in 1999 in District 69-60 named John Rotarian of the Decade. I don't know if there'll be any since him, but for sure I know he treasured that a lot. John is the past chairman of the Naples YMCA and served as a director on the board of the Boy Scouts of America, Shelter for Abused Women, Naples Girls Sport Foundation, and the Southern Community Bank. And most of all, John's wife, Cindy, who is always with him, his greatest supporter. They have 3 daughters and 2 grands. So without further ado, our good friend John Smarge will address us. John?
Thank you, David. DGE, Lyle, Rotarians, and all other protocol observed, if I may. It's a pleasure to be here. I wish I could be there in person. That would be even a greater treat, but tough times gives us great opportunities. And this is a fortunate opportunity for me to be able to speak with you. Winston Churchill was once quoted saying, "A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty." Even more succinctly, Albert Einstein said it, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." Now, right now, your current club presidents, they're doing whatever they can to simply make the best out of what are incredibly challenging circumstances. They're basically reacting. But on the other hand, all of you are part of the first class of presidents who are going to be able to plan for what Rotary looks like in both COVID-19 and COVID-19 life. You are the architects. You are the architects for the new Rotary, and you have unlimited tools at your disposal. It's more than likely that the 2021 Rotary year will begin with your club still holding online meetings. I have no doubt that sometime during the year, we'll all get back to in-person meetings, and then maybe in the fall, when the regular flu season comes back, we might end up forced back in our homes and resume Rotary being conducted virtually. The result of all this may be a whole new meeting format. From this point on, blending both the virtual and the real. For me, I view this time in Rotary with extreme excitement, hope, and optimism. Paul Harris said, if Rotary is to realize its proper destiny, it must be evolutionary at all times, revolutionary on occasions. And my dear Pres-elects and leaders, this is one of those revolutionary occasions that you will make happen. How fitting it is that we approach this pivotal time with such a perfect Rotary theme of Rotary opens opportunities. I have no doubt that you will all have a wonderful year ahead of you. And though there are multiple responsibilities in serving as club president, maybe the most important will be how you effectively preside over your weekly club meeting. Now, I love July 1st. It's probably my favorite day of the year. Now, David will tell Cindy about that, and I'll get in trouble. It's maybe my second favorite day of the year from my anniversary. But I can't wait for each of you to convene your first meeting and watch you affect the spirit of your club. It doesn't matter if it's in person or it's through an online channel, your Rotary Club will take on your personality. The culture of the club will be a direct reflection of you as its leader. Your members will respond to who you are, how you feel about Rotary, the passion you feel in your heart, and the compassion you have for your fellow members and for the less fortunate we serve. It's important that when you are speaking in front of your club, that you stay true to who you are. Remember speaking a few years ago at a district conference in Northern California. In the audience was past RI Director John Blount, who I served with on the board of directors. After getting off the stage, after my first big presentation, my good friend John comes up to me. He extends his hand, shaking it, and says, "John, I've heard you speak before, but I never realized how funny you were." And my response was to my friend John was, "Well, I just speak on stage the same way I speak in normal conversation," which was followed up by John saying, no, you're really not that funny in normal conversation. Now, the point is don't try to be something you're not. Each of us has our own particular style, our own set of speaking skills. Let your personality shine through. Be honest in your presentation and be authentic. Now, you need to know that I am proud of my Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Naples. But I'll tell you that a few years ago, my club was struggling. Our members had lost the sense of pride in the club, and the meetings had, quite frankly, become pretty uncomfortable. Because of this, many of the members, myself included, just stopped coming to the meetings. And while many others just dropped out completely. But then came July 1st. And as in all clubs, a new club president came in. This was Lisa McCarthy's time. Now, Lisa was painfully shy at the microphone. In the times that she spoke prior to becoming president, you could see her visibly shake and you could hear the quiver in her voice. But when Lisa took over as president, we could all tell that she had an incredible passion for Rotary and that the club meant everything to her. Our members didn't care about her speaking skills, didn't care about her nerves, or didn't care about her shyness, but we cared about Lisa. Each week, she would start the meeting in the exact same manner, using the exact same words. And I encourage all of you to develop that signature start. Lisa would start by saying, "Good afternoon. My name is Lisa McCarthy, and I am proud to serve as the president of the Rotary Club of Naples for the 2018-2019 Rotary year. Welcome to what will be the best hour and a half of your week." I can tell you that people cheered. They got up and started pumping their fists. They were excited to be there at that meeting. Now, Lisa was not the best speaker, but she excelled at being herself. Members hated missing a meeting. We had a 25-member gain that year, and only one member left the club due to a corporate relocation, and we regained that feeling of pride of membership. I'll also tell you that our club got the Big Club of the Year award, and Lisa got the Big Club President of the Year award. I cannot emphasize enough to you, my friends, the impact that you have as the identified leader of your club. Embrace who you are and be you. Now, expect that you are going to have a learning curve, and don't be too hard on yourself when you falter, and trust me, you are going to falter. I remember another president of our club a few years prior to Lisa. Her name was Jane. I remember her at her first club meeting. Now, we don't give gifts to speakers, like we don't give a mug or something like that. Instead, what we do is we make a contribution in their name to the End Polio Now campaign. We immunize 100 children in the speaker's name. So our traditional comments would go something like this: in appreciation of your presentation here today, a contribution will be made to the Rotary Foundation to assist in achieving Rotary's goal to eradicate polio from the face of the earth. Sounds pretty dignified and pretty good. Well, Jane, with her first meeting jitters, stumbled on this script slightly, and it came out like, in appreciation of your presentation today, a contribution will be made to the Rotary Foundation to assist in achieving Rotary's goal to eradicate children from the face of the earth. Now, you would think after that blunder, Jane would just simply wither away or get flustered. Instead, she stood proudly, looked out at the audience, smiled, and said something to the effect of, "And this is just further proof that we here at the Rotary Club of Naples are not an ordinary club. While others might be satisfied with just wiping out a disease, we are overachievers and seek to eliminate an entire generation of children. Mistakes will happen. If they are serious, apologize sincerely. If they are harmless, laugh them off." Now that brings up the idea of nerves. About getting nervous, I will tell you, I get nervous every time I speak. Whether it's on the stage in front of 20,000 people at a convention or with 20 members via Zoom, I get nervous. And it's normal. It means you care. It means that you want to do a good job. Now, what I do for me to prepare is something similar to what a golfer might do prior to a putt or a basketball player might go through before he gets on the line for a free throw. Before I begin, I envision myself succeeding. I get it in my mind that I am a success. When you start your first sentence, do so with a feeling of confidence that you're going to succeed. And above all, even if you can't shake the nerves, remember that you are speaking to Rotarians and we support each other. Everyone in that audience wants you to do your best and they are cheering for you to succeed. Now here we are. We're at the beginning of June with less than a month before the start of your presidency. I would hope that you take every opportunity to begin speaking in front of people. As I mentioned earlier, it's more than likely that you'll begin your presidency with online meetings. So make yourself available for any virtual presentations that might come your way. Now, DGE Lyle assigned me the presentation today of effectively communicating. Though what you say and how you say it is important, your real impact, as I mentioned earlier, will be measured by the way in which you conduct the weekly meeting. I'd like to offer to you my thoughts and some suggestions on meeting management, with many of my comments referring to in-person meetings. Let's first talk about your role. You are in many ways the MC of the meeting. You're not the star, but you provide the smooth transitions between those who are the star. You set the tone for the meeting and you provide the positive energy. You balance the times when it needs to be serious and the times when it has to be fun and chaotic. And I like sometimes when meetings get chaotic. I've seen some presidents who spend the entire meeting at the lectern, who make every announcement, who handle the invocation, introduce and thank the speaker, just to make it a one-man or one-woman show. They are missing the chance to provide their members with one of the greatest value propositions that Rotary offers, the opportunity for each person, each member to increase their own leadership and presentation skills. For me, I want to see us involve and thus engage as many members as possible. Cast away your own ego and give others the chance to shine. I think we should seek to involve the past and the future. We tend to think of Rotary in single years. Consider having the immediate past president be in front and center upon occasion, maybe for an important ceremony like inducting new members. It shows continuity. It takes advantage of someone who has worked for a year on crafting their speaking skills, and it keeps them engaged. Additionally, you should allow your president-elect an opportunity to start to feel comfortable as a presenter. Now I ask you, unfortunately you can't answer me here, but what is the sweetest sound to the human ear? The sweetest sound is your own name being spoken. There have been clinical studies that conclude that when someone hears their own name, it activates a part of the brain in a similar way to when we receive a compliment. I hope that you will utilize the lectern to recognize others. No matter how many members you might have in your club, you need to use each week to acknowledge the contributions of every member of your club, whether it occurred this year or 20 years in the past. A simple recognition from you, their club president, will mean the world to them. I'd like for you to look at your club and look at the meeting through the eyes of your members, or moreover, your prospective members. Now, PDG David had mentioned that I've owned a moving and storage company now for almost 40 years. A while back, I received an envelope in the mail. I opened up the envelope, and in it was a photograph of the front of my building. On the back of the envelope, or the back of the picture, there was the question, is this the way you want others to see you? I turned back the photo, and looking more closely, noticed that the photo was actually of the sign above my door. It had become faded and was half falling down. Now, I need to mention to you, full disclosure, that the envelope and the picture came from a fellow Rotarian who owned a sign company. I had entered that front door 5 to 10 times a day for years and never noticed the sign, never considered the poor impression that I was making on my current and potential customers until an outsider had pointed it out. How do our new and potential members view our place of business? And let me be very clear, our place of business is our Rotary meeting. Let's begin with the introductions of visitors and guests. These are prospective members, and all too often I hear their names butchered with the excuse, it's not my fault, you have bad handwriting. Remember the comment about the sweetest sound being your own name? If it were me, if I was going to be the one introducing the introductions of our guests, I would take the list on a clipboard and I would find every single person who was a visitor and say hello to them and ask them to confirm the correct pronunciation of their name. This ensures both accuracy and guarantees that every guest and every visitor are personally welcomed by at least somebody in the club. Now, do you have a culture of greeting each member around the table? I've been at club meetings before where the other members don't even talk to me. Just ignore me. But I've also seen many clubs who make a practice of having everyone stand up at the start of the meeting and shake each other's hands with the people around them. What a fantastic welcome and an awesome relationship building exercise. How are your weekly speakers of your program? Is each week another local nonprofit asking for support? We are a Rotary. We have our own programs to support. For me, I would love to see at least one Rotary-based program a month. The remaining weeks, bring in speakers who offer true value to our members. This is especially relevant during the current virtual environment that we are forced to live in today. Your opportunity for great speakers is boundless. You have the whole world to pick the best speakers. Just ask them. Now, do you have, in your Rotary clubs, do you have click tables? You know what click tables are? When you walk up to a table, when you sit down or try to sit down and the members shout, wait, you can't sit there. That's Bob's seat. And you find out that Bob has been sitting at the same seat for the last 47 years. Now I've got mixed emotions about click tables. In one way, I think they're okay. Members attend Rotary for different reasons. Some of our older members, like me, attend so that they can keep in contact with their friends. I don't want to take that away from them. However, I also believe in development of multi-generational relationships. What a great value to our new and younger members to be able to converse with experienced business and professional leaders. Now, I'll tell you, back when I was president, as David Edwards said, I was back in president when Paul Harris was still alive. I didn't like click tables. So I had an easy way to fix them. Now, some of you know different ways. Maybe some of you try where you pass out numbers when people walk in and they have a numbered table, but people just throw them away or they trade numbers. Well, here's what I did. We meet, and where we met before, we meet now still at a hotel where I had control over the room setup. our tables are set for 10. So I would ask the wait staff if they would change the table seating from 10 and seat 9. I'm telling you, you cannot believe the fun of this when you watch Bob and the rest of the members blindly walking around with plates in their hand, confused because their seats were gone. The next week, I'd say, switch it to 11 and then 10 and 9. Oh my goodness, I'd have fun each week. That's me. Now this is amusing, I would say, but I want to submit to you the importance of viewing the meeting as your business showroom. And you are the new CEO who has been hired to take that business to the next level, wherever that might be. Keep in mind, and this is important, my friends, keep in mind that for many of our members, especially our new ones, the meeting is the only attachment that they have to Rotary. You see, they might not be doing anything else but coming to the meetings. 85% of our members who drop out of Rotary do so in the first 3 years. We need for the club meeting experience to be so incredible that they stay around long enough to be introduced to our outside activities, to see what we do socially and see what we do in service. Be bold in your approach. Look at every aspect of the meeting with a critical eye and make changes as necessary. And though you might be fearful of making those changes, let me tell you, from personal experience, it takes more than 365 days to impeach a president. No one's going to throw you out. No one wants the job. It's yours. Make the changes, please. Now, this also applies to your online meetings. Everyone is using Zoom today. Business people are using it to reach customers. Teachers have virtual classrooms. We're keeping fit by online yoga and Pilates classes. Even our grandparents are reading bedtime stories to their grandchildren. And I know that's what I'm doing. So your online Rotary meeting must be better. It must be spectacular. The first few weeks of this, it was a novelty, right? The meeting was a novelty. So you could get away with anything. You could get away with an amateur hour. Now it's the norm, and it must properly represent the quality and professional organization that Rotary is. So you need to look at how you conduct your online meeting. You need to look at the layout. What does it look behind you? Is it appealing? Is the wall too close to you, too far away? You need the proper lighting. Quality video and sound. I love the fact that your videos were connected to the sound properly. They ran completely on time. Fantastic. The simple process is like muting people when you're supposed to. I also would ask you to establish each week proper etiquette. Establish the rules of your Zoom meeting. Even though you eat during the lunch hour, I don't know if I want to watch you eating in front of me. I remember one of my own club meetings where the guy was hanging pictures in his office while the Zoom meeting, or he's reaching for his phone and talking. You need to have the same etiquette in a Zoom meeting that you'd have in person. I talked about earlier about introducing visitors. This is also critical on a Zoom meeting. Very often we have members who are not members of our club who are visiting either as non-members or as guests. There's nobody around the table to welcome them. The only chance we have is for you as our club president to introduce the members. Be mindful who's on that call and make sure you introduce them. Stay organized. Now, you're MC, but you need to have your sergeant at arms or your secretary or somebody else who's actually physically running the meeting, watching for the muting, watching for the videos. You can't run it. And you also need to be carefully planning. Everything must be laid out properly. I'd ask you all to simply look up Google search of conducting a great Zoom meeting and prepare yourself. I'd also ask you to go to other Zoom meetings and see what you like, write the good things down and write the bad things down and make your meeting fantastic. My dear President-elects, I want to end by thanking each of you. Thanking you for your willingness to assume the responsibilities of leading your club during the 2020-2021 Rotary year. You didn't have to, especially when life itself is providing such great challenges to all of us. It speaks volumes about you and the confidence that your fellow members have in you and your leadership skills. Within each of you, there is an essential message to share, a message of compassion for others, and a deep-seated passion for Rotary. Your members must hear your message. By effectively communicating your enthusiasm, you can make a true and significant impact on your club, your community, and this world. I wish all of you the best in the year ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, past RI Director John. It's always a pleasure hearing you. I've heard you a few times and you're always quite engaging. One of the questions someone sent to me is, how can we create the camaraderie that we had in the club with online meetings that is now missing? Any ideas?
I've seen, Nigel, a number, again, members show up 15 minutes before meetings often, in the same way as you might do that at your club meeting, and just have open dialogue. If you're able to get out, you can maybe get out and do small gatherings of 5 people and organize those small gatherings if it's possible. But I would ask that you openly communicate, just ask questions, phone people who aren't on the Zoom calls. Just make an extra effort to mention everyone's name as you can during the course of the meeting. And if they hear their name, they feel as though they're a part of the activities.
Thank you. Another question is, how can you get the senior members to move from one table to another?
Again, sometimes you can look at it and say, what Rotary means to them is that they want to be there. And do we take away what Rotary is to them? Other way around it is to give them responsibility. Ask them to be a mentor. Ask them to be a mentor to 2 or 3 members and say, we need for you to talk with them and to show them about what Rotary is. And given a job, there'll be a reason for them to move out. I never said the same table twice. I love the opportunity to talk to the 30-year-olds in our club or the 25-year-olds in our club and just talk about Rotary. And I do it because I feel as though I'm making an impact. Those older members don't know of the value that they offer. And in return, I will tell you that the older members will get more out of it than the younger members. When they start talking to these new Rotarians, they'll see Rotary in an eye that they haven't seen it for in many years. Nigel, you're blocked.
Yes, I'm mute. I'm sorry. There's a question that, is it impolite to ask members to turn on their cameras? I think he feels a little easier with seeing people online rather than just blank screens.
I'm going to do what makes the member feel best, and if they don't feel comfortable for whatever reason, maybe they're on a cell phone and it just doesn't look right, or I'm going to say I would bend towards what the member wants. not what we want as the membership here, because the responsibility of Rotary clubs are to answer the needs of their members, not the membership, the club itself. So to me, though I'd like to see people live, whatever they want to do, what they do, whatever makes them feel most comfortable.
There's another question here. Length of meetings, what would you suggest?
For Zoom meetings, currently now, Zoom meetings shouldn't be going more than 45 minutes. Now, I gave a longer presentation tonight than I would ever do at a club meeting. I try to tell people at Zoom meetings, you probably want to go, the speaker wants to go 10 or 12 minutes, 15 at the max if they're great, but 10 or 12 minutes, because you can't get a sense of feel in a Zoom meeting. So 45 minutes is a good amount of time for a Zoom meeting. The in-person meetings our busy schedules probably say an hour, unless of course it's an after-hour meeting. And I've been to many of your after-hour meetings in the 70-30, and that, as long as you can still stand, I guess, you know.
Thank you very much. This question is, sometimes members get involved in conversations and this could be distracting to the speaker. Would you advise the speaker to stop speaking and be silent?
In an in-person meeting, I think you're putting undue pressure upon the speaker. In my own Rotary Club, there is a gentleman who speaks all the time. And prior to COVID, I was a speaker at my own club. And I got up to speak, and he started talking, and I turned to him and I called him out for it. I said, "I'll begin speaking when you're done." And he stopped talking. But it happens to be I'm a member of the club. In fact, I served as president right before he did. But I wouldn't expect a speaker to say that. But you know, you need to get with those people, because you probably have one or two in your club who do it all the time. And I wouldn't call them out in front of the audience. I would have the sergeant or the club president meet with them personally and say, out of respect, please don't speak when the speaker is speaking. But I'd never do it in front of everybody else. It's not fair to embarrass them in front of the crowd, except if you're me.
There's a question here. It's about membership. We believe we would lose members this year because of the COVID crisis. Any quick tips you can give us?
Well, first of all, we got the best membership guru in the Rotary world in David Edwards. But I'll tell you, my Rotary Club is inducting 4 new members in the next 2 weeks. And we've never met them in person. We've met them by Zoom. I think it's a whole new dynamic out there. And we're connecting with people in a way in which we can never connect before. We're still doing some service activities. And we found a way to connect our service activities via our online presence with our Rotary Club. And so people who are engaged with that other service project are now connecting through that service project to us because of our involvement. I think this is a great opportunity. I think you're going to find more people joining, not losing members. I really believe that. And again, my opinion is that long past the time when we're no longer needing to meet virtually and can meet in person, I don't think my Rotary Club is ever going to turn off the Zoom camera. I think we're going to keep one in front of our audience, looking at the lectern and having a group of people who may not be able to, for financial reasons or time, be able to come to our meetings, who are going to be engaged with us. So no, I think this, Nigel, is opportunity. I don't think it's an obstacle. This is a true opportunity for us to connect with people in a way which we've never connected before. Just again, thinking about the presentations that we have at our clubs. I've had a couple of past directors. I had past presidents of Rotary speak at my club. They would never, ever hear that speaking. I've had some professionals speaking at my club who never would have taken the time to come and speak to my club. We have great opportunities here, and I'd view it that way.
That's great news. AB has a question. He asked, dress code in virtual meetings. Just as your background is a certain caliber, he thinks that the dress code should be maintained during the virtual meetings. Any thoughts?
I'm like you. I'm in a beach community, so my Rotary Club, we say it's shorts to suits. We have members come to our Rotary Club meeting in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and we have them come in three-piece suits. I think that what's most comfortable for you is what's most comfortable, period. I'm not a stickler on having a dress. Now I will tell you, however, many of you know my involvement in hand wash with Haiti Water and Sanitation. We interviewed last week for our executive director. I wore a coat and tie for the interview because that's what I would wear at the event. So I would say what you're comfortable with wearing at your Rotary Club meeting, wear at your Rotary Zoom meeting. So again, in my own club meeting, I've got guys in t-shirts. That's the way they come to my club meeting too.
There's another question, but I'm not quite understanding it. It says, could you give us some examples of virtual actions? I'm not sure what that question is.
No.
No? That's the question so far. You've been highly entertaining, and a lot of the remarks so far have been great examples of what to do in the clubs. So I will, at this point in time, if there are no further questions, I will invite District Governor nominee, designate nominee Leslie to move a vote of thanks for the speakers, please.
Thank you, District Trainer Nigel, and good evening all. What a fantastic evening we've had here tonight, this evening. We've had 3 presenters, especially of the top caliber of Rotarians in the world. I mean, in racing terms, we would say we had the best thoroughbreds on show this evening. And I would like to thank past Rotary International Director, David Stovall, whom I've heard on several of the zone training sessions. And David is a fantastic presenter. And as David Edwards said, he is, not David Edwards, PD Lyle says he's a very experienced Rotarian. And we thank you for the 4 points you gave us on herding cats. And I'm sure that all our presidents would grasp that opportunity so that at the end of the term of office, they would become professionals at herding Rotarians. So President-elects, we expect at the end of your term of office, having gotten the guidelines from PRID David, our clubs will be very well herded bunch of Rotarians working towards improving the lives of others. My good friend and brother Rotarian, former club colleague, David, I know you and past Rotary International Director John Smarja very good friends, and must say that your introduction of John Smarja has been fantastic. It again tells you the wide experience John has. And certainly your message to our presidents, John, is truly amazing. And your quotation that Rotary clubs will take on the personality of the president is ever so true. As an original Rotarian, I have seen that over the many years that I've been in Rotary. And certainly the clubs, the result, the clubs take on the effect that the president has on them throughout his year. And thank you for your various points that you brought to us. I'm sure that our president-elects would have taken careful notes of everything that you would have said. And certainly this would put them in good stead during the term of office. So John, I want to thank you for really imparting all of that experience to our president-elects this evening. And we can only grow from strength to strength here. I want to thank our District Governor-elect, Lyle, for harnessing the talent here this evening to present to our president-elect. And this only goes to show the opportunities that are now afforded to us through this medium of presentations. And I hope that as we go forward in this year, our president-elects will take cognizance of all the information that was disseminated this evening, so that at the end of this Rotary, you could look back and be very proud of what we have accomplished. I want to thank all of our participants for taking part in this very important training session, especially our president-elects. This has been very important, and as we wind down our training sessions, this should serve you in good stead as your year begins. So thank you for participating, and certainly from the questions asked, one can see that there was a lot of interest involved in this evening's presentation. So thank you very much, and Nigel, over to you for closing off.
Thank you very much, District Governor nominee designate. SRI Director John, thanks again very much for your presence here this evening, and to RI Director David for the herding of the cats. I think that would last with all of us as we go on. Just a quick reminder to all the members here that we do have another presentation on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Please register on the website. Thanks very much to Natalie, Uwe, and Vicky for all the various translations. Abe and Liz for all the background questions that are posted. And for Sean, who had some really great videos this evening. Thank you all for the background support that we get here, and for making this possible. And to all, have a very good night, and we look forward to seeing you. Oh, there's one last thing. Please complete this survey that has been circulated. We're trying to get your feedback on some of these webinars. Thank you very much.